Their starting point guard had went down with a season-ending injury, so he was the next man up. And he had to guard the best player in the world at the time. He had no choice but to give it everything that he got. But with him giving everything that he got, it almost cost him his life. Matthew Dellevedova, a 6'3" point guard that's originally from Australia. And after all that hard work he was putting in overseas, he finally got his chance. He finally got that call that the NBA was looking for him. The biggest basketball stage and the biggest paycheck was calling his name. And Matthew Dellevedova was ready. He went undrafted to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2013. And he was exposed to a new level of basketball. People were bigger than him, faster than him, could shoot better than him. And not to mention, the Cleveland Cavaliers had Kyrie Irving at the time. Probably a top 5 point guard in the league. So Matthew Dellevedova had to find his role, and find his role fast before he got replaced. So he did what he could do. He started playing amazing defense. He instantly became known for his aggressive defense approach. He was playing people full court, denying players from getting the ball, and just causing turnovers. He was becoming known throughout the league for this. It was getting out of hand, and it got to the point where people were starting to call him a dirty player. Now, I leave that up for the fans to decide, but all I know is he was becoming respected for his defense. But with that being said, he wasn't considered official yet. He was making a little bit of noise, but he was still considered that role player just running around, doing too much. He didn't have any worthy opponents that he locked up, so it could have been a fluke. They say the truth always comes to the light, and his moment came where he was fully exposed. The 2015 NBA Finals. The Cleveland Cavaliers were going up against the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson had just changed the league to mostly shooting three-pointers. They were doing things that were unheard of at the time, and no one could stop them. And they had Draymond in the cut. He was the glue of the team. So if you were going to beat these guys, you were going to need all the help you can get. But unfortunately, the Cavaliers didn't have that. Their best point guard had got injured in the first game of the NBA Finals. So when Game 2 came around, Matthew Dellevedova was forced into the starting lineup against the best basketball player in the world at the time. The man that was known for scoring on some of the best defenders in the NBA. Now, I can only assume that Matthew Dellevedova was probably a little intimidated, having to guard the best player in the world in front of the whole world. Everybody was watching. But Matthew Dellevedova just did what he usually does. Play as hard as he can. Probably harder than he has ever played before. And it was enough. He made Steph Curry uncomfortable. He had him turning the ball over, and he didn't even make a single shot. He got locked up, and Matthew Dellevedova was getting all of the praise. But talk about being exhausted. He was already showing signs that something was wrong. But after the game, when all the fans went home, it got worse. After the game, he was immediately rushed to the hospital. They were saying that he was severely dehydrated, so they had to give him an IV. I know he felt terrible just laying in that hospital bed, coming close to death. But his team got the win though. That's all he ever wanted. He finally proved himself. He finally proved his defense was not a fluke and that they need to put some respect on his name. I do wish that this story was a happily ever after story. It would have been an amazing thing to tell, but it's not. The next game, Steph Curry did get his revenge.